Now guys, so this is just picking up from the last video. I'm going to try and keep this short, but I really want to spend a bit of time analysing this really very important speech by Shylock. It's a monologue, as I said, and a monologue is a speech in which the character speaks at length and says really important things, but is speaking to another character. So he's addressing Antonio here. I'm going to walk you through it and show you some quotes I think are really worth learning. So Shylock says, Signor Antonio, many a time and oft in the Rialto. Remember, the Rialto was the public place of business. Shylock is a proud man. He's a businessman. He's a successful businessman. He's a man of standing in his community. But when he goes to the Rialto, not once, but many times and often, many times and oft, in the Rialto, you have rated me about my monies and my usances. Now, lads, I know I'm being annoying, right? Sorry. Learn that quote. How would you feel if you were Shylock? That's number one from this speech. What does it mean? Antonio, you have come to my place of business and humiliated me, attacked me, condemned me, not once, but over and over and over again because of my business. And now here you are wanting to borrow money from me. I love it. You can feel his anger, his resentment, his sense of injustice. You can feel it. And you can't blame him. Antonio believes himself to be in the right. He's a bigot. He doesn't see Shylock as like an equal human being. And Shylock is a human being. And he has been hurt by Antonio. And he's articulate enough and strong enough. In this particular scenario where Antonio needs him, he feels strong enough to tell him the truth. Still have I borne it with a patient shrug, for sufferance is the badge of all our tribe. That's quote number 2. Learn it. You call me misbeliever, cutthroat dog, and spit upon my Jewish gabardine. And that is quote number 3. Learn them as 2 separate quotes. So he says sufferance is the badge of all our tribe. He's talking about Jewish people. And he's saying that our experience of life is to suffer. We suffer because of people like you, Antonio. Bigots. People who treat us with disrespect. We've had to get used to it because we haven't got the power to resist. And he says, in this very, very disturbing and unpleasant image, you call me misbeliever. So in other words, you're not a Christian. Cutthroat dog. You call me a dog, a murdering, vicious animal. And then this spit upon my Jewish gabardine. So his clothing, he wears a costume that marks himself out as a Jewish person. And he's spat upon. So does that paint Antonio as a hero? Like, is Antonio someone we admire there? I said in a previous video, I don't like him, and that's why I don't. He's a bigot. Now, again, he represents the society in which he lives, which was a bigoted society and didn't question that discrimination. But Shakespeare in this play is showing it from the other side. He's showing it from the experience of the victim of the bigotry. And he's given a nobility to Shylock here. Yeah, he's angry. Yeah, he's vengeful. Yeah, he's bitter and he's twisted. But he's also someone that we can admire because of his suffering. And he didn't just spit upon him once. He's done it many times and oft. And all for use of that which is mine. You've attacked me because of the way I use my money. What have I done wrong? Well then, it now appears you need my help. Go to then. You come to me and you say, Shylock, we would have your monies. You say so. You that did void your room upon my beard. Now, to void your room means to I don't want to be unpleasant, but to pull up bile and then to spit upon somebody. So you've spit in my face. Now that's a very, 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 very powerful use of imagery. It's unpleasant. The word we use for an image which is really, really powerful, but unpleasant, which makes us, pull away, which makes us feel repulsed, is the word is visceral, visceral. It's a visceral use of imagery, and Shakespeare is really humanizing Shylock here. Shylock's not a dog. He's a human being. He's just trying to go about doing his business. He's not stealing from anybody. He's using his money to make money. He's business can't function without the likes of him. And yet he has to, every time he goes to his place of work, he has to get abused and called names and spat upon and spat into his face. And who's done all that? Antonio has. He says, you foot me. In other words, kick me as you would a stranger cur. A stranger cur is a wild dog of your trade. If a dog came into your home, you'd kick it out. That's the way you treat me. Money's is your suit. You want money, is it? Your suit is what you're after. You want money, is it? What should I say to you? Should I not say, has a dog money? Is it possible a cur can lend 3,000 ducats? Or shall I bend low and in a bondman's key, a bondman is a slave, in the tone of voice of a slave, with bated breath and whispering humbleness, say this, fair sir, you spit on me on Wednesday last. You spurned me such a day. Another time you called me dog. And for these courtesies, I lend you thus much monies. What Shylock is doing, brilliantly, is pointing out Antonio's hypocrisy. Like, in many ways, Antonio is not a bad man, but he is a man who causes misery to people simply because of their religion. So he is a bigot. And that bigotry has a price. It causes harm. And the harm that it causes is eloquently articulated by Shylock in this incredibly well-written monologue. So Shylock is not going to lend the money without saying his piece, but he is going to lend the money because he's going to use it to try and get revenge. So, Antonio's response, I am as like to call thee so again, to spit on thee again, to spurn thee too. If thou wilt lend this money, lend it not. As to thy friends, for when did friendship take a breed for barren metal of his friend? But lend it rather to your enemy, who, if he break, thou mayest with better face exact a penalty. Look at the most important part there. He says, I am as like to call thee so again, to spit on thee again, to spurn thee too. Antonio says, yeah, I did that, and I'd do it again. So Antonio was admitting his heinous, awful behaviour. He said, if you don't want to lend me the money, don't lend me the money. If you do, grand. But I'm not going to change my attitude to you. So Antonio is a person who is filled with hate in just the same way as Shylock is accused of being a hateful figure. And in many ways, he is a hateful figure. So is Antonio. And Shylock's, what comes first, the chicken or the egg? Shylock's hatred comes from the treatment he has received from Antonio and the likes of Antonio, powerful Christian men in this Christian society who discriminate against Shylock because he's Jewish. Shylock, why look how you storm? I would be friends with you and have your love. Forget the shames that you have stained me with. Supply your present wants and take no doit of usance for my monies. And you not hear me? This is kind I offer. This were kindness. This kindness will I show. Go with me to a notary. Seal me there your single bond. And in a merry sport, if you repay me not on such a day and such a place, such sum or sums as are expressed in the condition, let the forfeit be nominated for an equal pound of your fair flesh, to be cut off and taken in what part of your body pleaseth me. And there you go, folks. That is the 5th quote from this very, very, very important moment in the play that I would highly recommend you put on your list to learn. And that, of course, is the driving moment of the plot. The pound of flesh. So, Antonio, are you willing? You want to borrow money off me? No bother. Just come with me to a notary. So a notary is a person like a solicitor who creates like legal documents. Come with me. We'll draw up the contract and I'll lend you the money and we'll have the date that the money is due back. And if the money's not due back, you will agree that I'll be able to cut a pound of your flesh out from any part of your body I so choose. It's vicious. Certainly, to use the term unchristian. But isn't that what Antonio's done? Isn't he been vicious and unchristian and cruel towards Shylock? And of course, the whole drama of the play is then, will Antonio be able to pay the money back in time? And if he's not, will Shylock get his pound of flesh? And the pound of flesh is, of course, an important symbol. For some, it's the symbol of Shylock's greed and inhumanity. For me, it's a symbol of his frustration and his revenge. Depends on how you look at it. I think I'm right, but I always do. So it's a lovely, brilliant moment of drama, of tension, of conflict, addressing themes which are really important about identity and about bigotry and about suffering and about trauma and about revenge. So much to say. So much to say. A great, great, great quote to learn. So yeah, there you go. That's Act 1, Scene 3. And it ends with Shylock exiting and Antonio's reflection. The Hebrew will turn Christian, he grows kind. And Bassanio's suspicion, I like not fair terms in a villain's mind. And Antonio says, come on, in this there can be no dismay. My ships come home a month before this day. So Antonio's going, I'm not worried. I'm not going to have to give him a pound of my flesh. My money will come in, my ships will come in. And that's, of course, setting off the drama. And we go, I wonder, will they? So there you go. That's Act 1 of the play. And that's, without a shadow of a doubt, the most important scene in Act 1 and one of the 3 most important scenes in the play, Act 1, Scene 3. Get a handle on it. Understand what's happening in it. Learn your quotes. Okay, hopefully you found that useful.